One of the reasons
why
there is pollution is because we burn fossil fuels. So fossil fuels are fuels that are created deep in the earth. Oil is probably the best example of a fossil fuel. We drill for oil. We take oil out of the ground. We refine oil into things like gas or diesel. If you're learning British English, it would be petrol. But fossil fuels, when you burn them, create heat, and they create emissions. And so fossil fuels, once turned into gas or diesel fuel, we burn them in our cars and trucks in order to drive around. And in doing so, we create pollution, which has an effect on the environment. It's probably one of the biggest things that human beings do in terms of affecting the environment. So greenhouse gases are gases that we release into the atmosphere that are bad for the environment. Greenhouse gases, I don't know all of them, but it's carbon dioxide is one of the gases. I think methane and nitrous oxide, maybe even ozone. I think carbon dioxide is the biggest greenhouse gas. And what greenhouse gases do is they let the sunlight through, but they reflect heat or infrared heat back to the earth. I'm not a scientist, so don't quote me on this. But the greenhouse gases form a blanket in the sky around the earth that helps keep the earth warm. The problem is, as we put more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, we're starting to keep the planet too warm. The blanket's getting a little bit too big because of our pollution. So again, some pretty big words in there. Greenhouse gases come from cars and factories. And they are gases like carbon dioxide and methane. Those are the two biggest, I think. I'm having trouble remembering my science class when I was a kid. The ozone layer is a little bit different. It's a layer of what's called ozone, and it actually stops certain ultraviolet light from getting to the planet. So it's a little bit different than the greenhouse gases. But those two things together make up our atmosphere. The atmosphere is all the air around the Earth. And in order for a human to survive on this planet, the atmosphere needs to stay relatively the same. A certain amount of nitrogen and oxygen and carbon dioxide. And if we mess it up through pollution, it could have dangerous effects on all of us. Hazardous waste. So we have toxic waste, we have hazardous waste, we have industrial waste. This is any kind of waste that's produced by a factory or in manufacturing. Okay? So that's a big difference. Let's see. American English with this guy. In Maine, most bottles and cans can be redeemed for 5 cents. Very cool. Milk jugs cannot be returned for any money. That's why we put it in bags here in Canada, so we can recycle the bag. Anyways, let me get back. There are many kinds of waste produced by factories. So again, hazardous waste, industrial waste, toxic waste. We even have nuclear waste from nuclear power plants. And all of this needs to be disposed of properly. If you just dump hazardous waste into a river or lake or stream, or just on the ground, it's bad for the environment. That's one of the things that most countries are trying to get under control, to reduce the amount of hazardous waste and other types of waste that goes into the environment. We also have household waste. We also have household waste. See all this garbage. Household waste is anything generated by people in their home. In our house, because I have yes, I'm married, and Jen and I have 5 children. Only 4 are at home right now. One's at university. We generate quite a bit of household waste. We try not to. We try to produce as little household waste as possible. But household waste is also bad for the environment if it's disposed of improperly. It would also just be called garbage or trash, but the formal term would be household waste. Here's some
Here's some
effects that humans have on the environment. These are some of the things. I'm just going to talk a little bit about how pollution and emissions affect the environment around us. One of the things that it does is it creates endangered species, or it creates a situation where certain animals and sometimes plants are in danger of becoming extinct. I'll talk about extinction in a second. This is the bobolink. It's a type of bird in Ontario, Canada. And it is an endangered species. There are not a lot of bobolinks left. We have been destroying its natural habitat. We have been creating cities and farms, and we have been destroying where the bobolink. I picked the bobolink because one, it's an endangered species, and it also starts with the word bobolink. Anyways, so it's not extinct. There are still bobolink birds in Ontario, but it's on the endangered species list because it's on endangered species. There's a danger that it might become extinct. This is the eastern elk. The eastern elk is actually extinct in North America. It was a type of animal that was common, but because humans came and destroyed the environment where these elk live, they no longer exist. We probably also hunted them a long time ago, and I'm sure that had an enormous effect as well. But when you have an endangered species, it means it's in danger of going extinct. It might go extinct. And if an animal or plant is extinct, it just doesn't exist on our planet anymore. It's kind of sad. When I was researching this lesson, I was sad to see how many species were extinct in Canada. It was a lot. It was in the hundreds, 200, 300. Don't quote me on that. Again, I'm not a scientist. We have an enormous effect on the environment, and sometimes it has serious effects where animals go extinct. The other thing, climate change and global warming and being destructive in the world in terms of the environment does is it creates natural disasters. So there's more drought. There's more flooding. There's more extreme weather. There's more things happening in the world because we're not taking care of the planet. And we would say that those are natural disasters. Things like tsunamis and hurricanes and tornadoes. And I mentioned flooding. Volcanoes less so. I'm not sure we're causing volcanoes, but really another type of natural disasters. So extreme weather. Extreme weather would mean if you normally get a storm that's really bad, but now you're starting to get storms that are even worse. We call that extreme weather. If you have high winds of 80 to 90 kilometers an hour, and maybe you have storm, now the winds are 110 kilometers an hour. We are definitely experiencing extreme weather here in Canada. We have more summer days over 30 degrees Celsius last year than we have had in many decades, I think. In many decades. Extreme heat can also be extreme weather. We have something in English called the carbon footprint. The carbon footprint is a newer term in the last 5 or 10 years, at least for me. 5 or 10 years, basically is how much effect you personally are having on the environment. So for me to live for a year requires a certain amount of gas, a certain amount of food, a certain amount of clothing. All of those things create greenhouse gases when they're being manufactured or consumed. So I'm using a lot of big words here. Your carbon footprint simply refers to how much greenhouse gases you have created in order to live. If you fly on a private jet every week, you create a lot of greenhouse gas, and your carbon footprint is enormous. And your carbon footprint is enormous. If you live in a small apartment and you eat really healthy food and you ride a bike everywhere and don't drive a car, your carbon footprint is very tiny. So we definitely want to think about what our carbon footprint is. carbon footprint is as we go through our daily lives. When we talk about things that are good for the environment, we say that they are earth-friendly or they're environmentally friendly.
We do certain things because they're good for the environment. As much as we just talked about many things that are bad for the environment, there are more and more things every year that humans are doing that are good for the environment. One of those is composting. So we do not put our food scraps in the garbage. We have a separate pail, and we call it our compost pail. And that's where you put things like the tops of your carrots. When you get your vegetables ready, and if there's some leaves that are brown that you can't eat, you throw in the compost. You can in some places also throw in like moldy cheese or milk that's gone sour. We actually have our compost picked up by a truck. On garbage day, a truck comes once a week and picks up our garbage, our compost, and our paper recycling, our metal recycling, and our plastic recycling, and our paper recycling. It's all separated. But I'll tell you a little secret.
I tell you a little secret. I live on a farm.
All of our kitchen scraps from fruits and vegetables, we give to our chickens. The chickens like to eat them. We compost everything else, but we don't compost. So in Canada, in Ontario, we have a composting system. All of your kitchen scraps go to a central location, and they are put in a big pile, and then they just decay and decompose. And when it's all done, we have really good fertilizer. We also use